Hello everybody and welcome to Sin City Living. My name is Jason. I'll be bringing you today's episode. As always, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We have a ton of content coming out for you guys every single week. Our usual shout out of appreciation to our patrons. All those tips and support only going to go towards making the channel better. We appreciate it so much. We've never taken a penny out of that. We're just hoping to save it up so we can add some more games. To do it right, it's going to be very, very, very expensive, so it could take us some time. If you're curious about it or would like to know how you can help us do it faster, go and check the description of the video down below. And I hope all of the patrons are appreciating these Patreon exclusive videos that we're putting out for you guys every single week. If anybody has anything they would like us to film, strategies, suggestions, questions related to any game, or casinos, or Vegas in general, or our two new shows on Tuesday and Thursday, the True Crime in Vegas show and the Histories of Vegas, please email sincitylivingLV@gmail.com. Otherwise, I'm going to go right into today's video. In today's video, I want to talk about sports betting. We're going to talk about sports betting here in Vegas and how does it work? Because a lot of people, myself included when I first started betting sports, were very, very confused at how the odds worked. It was very, very, very confusing to me on how odds worked. So the way the odds work, when you see a line, like you see a sports line, let's say a boxing match, and you got your two opponents, and it says minus 110 for one person and plus 100 for the other person. What does that mean? How does that factor in? Well, what it means is that minus 110 means that's how much you have to bet to win $100. So if you put a $110 bet on this person and they won, you would win $100, right? Plus means how much you would have to bet to win $100. So if a person is plus 450, that means they are such a heavy favorite that you would have to bet $450 in order to win $100. Right? That means they're a super, super, super heavy favorite to win, and the odds favor them to an enormous, enormous, enormous degree. Now remember, there's a house edge built in, and that house edge will show up in those odds. You will sometimes see a match where the odds will say minus 110, minus 110, where it doesn't matter which side you have to bet on, you have to bet $110 to win $100. That's where the house edge is built in. There's a little bit of a house edge. Of course, the odds will change over time, and most often than not, the bookmakers are changing these odds based on the bets they're getting. If they're getting a lot of bets to one side, they will actually change the odds on the other side to make it a little bit more favorable, to make it so where players will bet more of these bets in to try and even out the money. The casinos make their money based on the house edge and those odds. They don't make their money based on more people betting on one side than the other. They want that to be as even as possible. So the odds will certainly adjust to encourage people to bet both sides of the match. Now, there's some additional bets that you can make. In fact, what gets very, very common for bettors, especially bettors that are betting a lot, are parlay bets. Now, what is a parlay bet? Well, a parlay bet is where you are betting on multiple things, and your entire bet will lose if you if a single one of those bets loses. Right now, parlay bets oftentimes can be made cheaper. It depends. Some places like online betting will let you make like a 10-teamer for $1, where a lot of casinos will, you have to do at least $10 or something along those lines for a 10-teamer or more. A dollar sports bet probably is taken at most of the sports books. But I'm going to keep it at the low dollar amounts just for examples. So let's say you do a dollar 4-teamer. Do a dollar 4-teamer, and they all have even odds, so it's negative. They're negative 110 each. So we'd have to bet $1.10 to win $10. But we'll just roughly say that your dollar will pay you $2. It doesn't. It pays like 190 something, but we'll just say $1 pays you $2 just for ease of math. So you bet a $4-teamer for $1. Well, what that means is if the first one wins, the first match that's decided, whichever game, maybe they're all going at the same time, doesn't matter, whichever one finishes first, right? If you win that one, then your dollar now turned to $2. So you have $2 on the next one, and the next one that finishes, if you win that, your $2 turned into $4. Now the third match, you've got $4 on it. When that one finishes, if you won, your 4 turned into 8. And then finally, the last one, if it wins, your 8 turns into 16. Theoretically, obviously, again, there's a house edge, it would be less than that. But that is what a parlay bet means. It means that you bet a certain amount. You're betting a string of games or a string of matches. You bet a certain amount, and if it wins, all of your winnings roll over into the next bet, then rolls over into the next bet, then rolls over into the next bet. That's why you can bet. That's why people can put, say, $10 onto a 10-teamer and win tens of thousands of dollars, because everything keeps rolling over. Your entire winnings keep rolling over and parlaying onto the next bet, to the next match. They're very, very popular bets. They're extremely hard to win, especially big ones, 8-teamers, 10-teamers, even 6-teamers are very, very tough to win, unless you bet all the favorites. But even then, if you bet all the favorites, first off, your dollar might only win you 11 cents, and then the next bet you got $1.11 that might only win you 42 cents. So, you can certainly bet like a $10 10-teamer, bet all the favorites and win $18 total after it's all said and done, if you bet all the heavy favorites. But as we all know, especially in major sports like basketball, hockey, football, upsets happen all the time. If you tried to bet the heavy favorite, a 6-team heavy favorite on any given night for, say, the NBA, I'm pretty sure that at least one team, at least one underdog is going to win. Now we do have things called round robins, and those get pretty tricky, because let's say you do a 4-team where you got 4 teams in a round robin. If you did a 2 and 3-team round robin, 2, 3, 4, basically every single possible matchup would be a bet. Every single possible parlay out of that, you'd have multiple 2-teamers, multiple 3-teamers, and one 4-teamer. So you would have multiple bets. It'd be a lot more expensive, but that way you have the ability to win even if you get one wrong. Now, again, those get very, very, very expensive. Now, when you're getting to things like point spreads are the bookmakers' adjustments and guess at, with the favorites and the underdog, at how much they're going to win or lose by. Now, once they make these bets, that's where you get the -110 on, say, a basketball game. You've got your maybe one team's a 10-point favorite, so the other one's a 10-point underdog. So if the underdog, that's a 10-point underdog, if you bet on them based on the point spread, you're betting that they won't lose by 10 points. That means if they lose by 9, you still win your bet, even though they didn't win the game. And same thing with the favorite. If they're a 10-point favorite and you bet on them and they win by 9, your bet lost, and nothing you do about it. But they generally pay the best. If you bet on what's called money line, where you're just betting on the team to outright win the game, if they're the favorite, now your odds go from being, say, -110 to maybe being plus 350, where you'd have to bet $350 just to win $100, because just them outright winning the game is such a close to a done deal that you'd have to have an enormous amount of money bet on them in order for it to pay you anything halfway decent. It's like the NBA champions against the worst team in the NBA, and you bet on the NBA champions just to win the game, not win by point spread, just to outright win the game. Good luck on making any money on that one. So that's what money line is, and it happens with baseball. You got your point spread or your run line, and then you've got the money line. Same thing with hockey. You've got the spread and then the money line, and same thing with basketball, spread, the money line, football, spread, the money line. When you get to things like boxing and MMA matches and other sports, you tend to run into mostly just win-loss. Then you have other stuff that you can bet on. What round is it going to end on? Is it going to end on a knockout or a submission? Is it going to go the distance? You can bet on all those different things, all those little side bets. And if you have one of the apps and you're betting online, you also may have the ability to do what's called in-live betting, which is while the game is playing, you can put additional bets. Maybe they're in halftime and you could bet just on the second half point spread, who's going to win just the second half, as if they were starting at 0 again. Or Maybe, the lines might be constantly changing, and you might be able to bet, even with 3 minutes left in the game, maybe you can bet that the team that's down by 8 makes a comeback and wins the game, and you're probably going to get paid pretty well because you're going to have some really good odds on that. So that's what in live bets are. They're bets that are occurring while the game is playing. So I hope you guys find this basic stuff on sports betting interesting, or at least helpful. If you guys have any questions, please email us at sincitylivinglv@gmail.com. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. We will catch you guys next time. Bye now.